again, and welcome back to the Gentleman Uncles. Whenever we feel like it, episode.
We're gonna try and be a little bit more on top of things.
We took a break. Fuck you. We're allowed to take breaks.
Breaks are good. Nice little
relaxation.
This
is tough.
And this is Brylan.
This is tough. And this is Kyle.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah,
you know who we are by now.
It's tough keeping the genius alive consistently. The genius needs a refurbishment period.
It is very tough. And this movie that we're talking about today is it turns so your brain to mush.
Well, yeah, that. It's so terrible that it destroyed the recording of the podcast we made for it a few weeks ago, and our brains to such an extent that we're just getting back to it now.
And that is not an exaggeration. We recorded an episode, we're talking about The Room by Tommy Wiseau. We recorded an episode a few weeks ago, and this movie is so bad that the recording didn't want to exist, so it destroyed itself. So here we are again, because we're sadomasochists. And we like to torture ourselves and you. So, The Room.
For those of you who don't know anything about it, where have you been? And That is true. I mean, we
directed
and starred in by...
Written, directed, produced, and financed by.
And starred in, yes. By an allegedly Homo sapien creature named Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau may, in fact, be either definitive proof of evolution or definitive disproof of evolution.
Or he's definitive proof of alien life. Which I'm going to go with option C.
He is a very strange thing. Supposedly... He's American, but if you've ever heard him speak, according to him, he was born in America and spent time, quote-unquote, in Europe.
He has a very you can't pinpoint exactly where his accent is from. It sounds vaguely generically Eastern European?
Kind of Eastern European at times, kind of French sometimes, kind of Italian sometimes. And apparently he's very mysterious about his past. Greg Sestero, who plays Mark in the film The Room, is arguably one of his closest friends, and even he says whenever he asks about his past, he just sort of like chuckles and changes the subject. So my working theory is that he is in fact a time traveler, and Tommy Wiseau is the ultimate evolved human who has come back to teach us how to get to his point.
Wow.
Just a theory.
Well, I mean, that would make sense if he was on such another level that's why we don't understand him.
Exactly.
I can see that.
But The Room.
Yes.
Now,
and going back really quick to Mark Sestero, he wasn't the original casting choice for that role. He plays the supporting lead male role. Mm-hmm. He was actually the line producer?
Yeah. He was the line producer, and the guy that was originally cast as Mark either quit or just didn't show up, or something. Something. Yeah, and
Tommy Wiseau was like, "Hey, you do it."
Actually, it was more, "Hey, you do this, huh? Okay."
Chip.
Okay, let's backtrack a tiny bit here. The Room. Now, Brylan, you and I, we specialize in bad movies that a lot of people may not have heard of. Some people have, some people haven't. But it is fair to say, where have you been if you haven't heard of The Room? Because it's as famous as a bad movie, as a unknown bad movie can be, while still being an unknown bad movie.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy Wiseau put up billboards all over L.A. before the movie was released. And it was direct to DVD, right? Or did it get minor?
Maybe he rented out a theater and showed it once.
Could be. I wouldn't put it past him.
But it's like Troll 2, The Room,
Plan 9,
Birdemic, Plan 9, Birdemic. Those are they're the mainstream of bad movies.
Yeah.
So this movie is known. If you haven't seen it, I hesitate to say see it.
Yeah.
Because everyone should see it. I
wouldn't want to tell you to put yourself through that. Yeah, everyone should, I guess.
But it's kind of like in the same way that everyone... I hesitate to say this because it's going to make me sound like an awful person, but it kind of... It's kind of like how everyone should go to the Museum of Tolerance. It's an awful experience, but it teaches you about life. Now, I'm not comparing the works of Tommy Wiseau to the Holocaust
at all
on any level, but it is an experience that is awful, and you know it's going to be awful, but you should at least experience once.
Yes, that's valid. I see that. Do you want to attempt to convey the what I will very loosely call plot of the movie?
In a second, because I want to get into the our personal origins with this a little bit. Where did you first hear of The Room?
Like clips here and there of Tommy Wiseau. I might have been reading an article and I looked up some clips on YouTube, or as one of my friends told me about it. And so I had never actually watched the whole thing until a few weeks ago for this. And, but it was just the most surreal experience. Like, even after watching little clips of it on YouTube, I was like, this can't really be a real movie. No. This guy isn't a real person. He's playing a character, obviously. And B, this is all just a joke. It's a parody. It has to be. But it's not.
But it's not. The first time I ever heard of The Room, period, was I was watching an episode of Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job. And the episode was about Tim and Eric making a movie about Pig Boy or something.
Yeah, Pig Boy.
It was a fake movie they were making. And they had a director named Tommy Wiseau. And he was on the episode, and he was, like, honestly directing the scene. I believe he thought he was making a movie. I don't think that they told him it was fake. Or he just didn't catch that it was fake.
I think he just, didn't understand.
But I was watching, I was like, this is a Tim and Eric character. Flat out, this is not a real guy. This is a character that they came up with. But no, he was, and they would show, throughout the episode, they showed little clips of The Room, and I was like, okay, this is fake. This is bullshit. They made all this up just for this episode. And then, like a year later, I got really into riff tracks, the guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000, and they released a riff track of The Room, and I went, oh my god, I remember this, I can't believe this is real. And I watched it, and now I can't stop watching it, because like I said before, I'm a sadomasochist.
Yes.
Now, the plot.
If you want to call it that. Because, I mean, it has a plot, well, okay, this is a terrible example. This is probably the best comparison I can make. It has a plot like Seinfeld had a plot.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's a movie about nothing, the same way Seinfeld was a show about nothing.
But Seinfeld was funny and smart and made sense without being about anything, and this is the opposite of that.
Yeah, The Room, watching The Room is like watching a very unfunny sitcom. Well, not funny for the reasons that it wants to be.
Right.
It stars Tommy Wiseau as Johnny, who works at a bank doing
computer things.
Something. He does something that saves the bank a lot of money. But whatever he's doing, he wants to get a promotion. So there's like Johnny. There's Johnny's live-in girlfriend named Lisa, who apparently works with computers too, because there's at one point, once in the movie, she says that the computer business is busy or something.
But also she works with clients. Maybe doing computer-type things.
Maybe she's Geek Squad, but she never leaves the house. It never once shows her outside of their apartment. So she works from home. Maybe she does tech support.
Could be, yeah.
But
the conversations with her mother make it seem like she can't support herself. So whatever she does doesn't pay well.
Yeah. So there's Johnny and there's Lisa and there's Johnny's best friend Mark, who also does something that keeps him very busy to the point where someone calls him, he says, I'm very busy, I can't talk right now, even though he's just sitting in a car, not doing anything.
Like a parked car. He's sitting there, answers the phone, very busy, can't do anything right now.
Which has led Greg Sestero, the actor that played Mark, to believe that he was either a private eye or an undercover cop, because maybe he was on a stakeout.
Yeah. Quite possible.
But that's just his best guess.
Because he didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, he had no fucking clue. So there's Mark, Johnny, Lisa, Johnny's neighbor, Denny. Not Danny. Not Danny. Denny. Like the restaurant.
Yeah, like the namesake of the restaurant.
Denny is one of the weirdest characters ever. He's an orphan who is
and has no social skills.
Is he supposed to have like Asperger's or something? Because it seems like I can't tell if he's supposed to or if that's just how he's written, because Tommy Wiseau doesn't know how human beings interact with each other.
I'm gonna go with option B because he shows too much emotion and loves to.
He decides that he loves women like every other day, like he loves a different woman every other day.
Yeah.
But in the way like a 5-year-old decides that they love someone.
Yeah. And he doesn't understand social cues in any way. Like he wants to go hang.
Let's explore that statement. Right before the first of many sex scenes,
which are like the first disgusting and gratuitous.
And horrifying, and will turn you off to the human reproductive
process
completely. Yeah, at the first of many of them, right before Johnny and his girlfriend go up to their bedroom.
15 minutes of the movie, right?
Yeah, in the first half of the movie, there's a sex scene like every 3 minutes. It's basically a softcore porn movie for the first half. But right before the first one, Johnny and his girlfriend go upstairs into their bedroom, and they're kind of just fooling around. And Denny comes up and jumps on the bed, and they're like, "Denny, you need to leave." He's like, "Oh, but I like watching you guys." What?
Yeah.
That just what?
And they don't even care. They have
they're not bothered by it.
How old would you say Denny is? Is he supposed to be like 14, 15?
Oh my god, that is a question I don't even know how to answer. I don't even know how to begin to speculate.
And he lives by himself.
I would say
his parents
he's
are dead.
between the ages of 12 and 31.
I would go 12 to like 18. Because he's trying to get into college. He's worried about getting into college.
Maybe he's a savant, so maybe he's like... I honestly, I'm having a hard time because
12 is a very valid guess, though.
Yeah, I would say maybe 16. In all seriousness, maybe, like, on the youngest side, he's maybe, like, 16, 17.
Okay.
But I'm just basing that on the quote-unquote actor that plays him, not necessarily the character itself.
Right.
He also has a drug problem. Of some kind. He either does drugs
or sells
he sells drugs.
And allegedly he has a drug problem. We never see any drugs. We never see him doing any drugs. And it's only mentioned once.
It's only mentioned once in one scene where a guy named Chris R. pulls a gun on him because he wants his drug money.
Yes. So whether it's because Chris R. was fronting the drugs to Denny and Denny did them and didn't pay, or whether it's Denny is the middleman and Chris R is the supplier, we don't know.
We don't know. We do not know. It's never mentioned before, and as soon as they cart Chris R away to the police, it's never mentioned again. So,
even though it's a huge deal that, oh my god, why are you doing drugs? This is terrible. What's wrong with you? You know better, blah, blah, blah. And then whatever.
So that's Denny. So we have Johnny, Lisa, Mark, Denny. Lisa's mother, who is
a prototypical Jewish mom.
I would say prototypical, like, I want to call it rotting high class. Like, someone who was high class, but their life is falling apart, but they still hold on to that.
I can see that.
Rotting high class white woman. So she's either a prototypical, stereotypical old Jewish lady, or prototypical former high class white woman.
Yes. And she goes through husbands like people go through laundry.
She has cancer, which is, again...
only mentioned once.
Only mentioned once, and there's not even... Denny's drug problem has a whole scene devoted to it. Lisa's mom's cancer has one line. And it's at the very beginning of the scene. The scene starts where she's sitting down talking to Lisa, and she says, well, the test results are back. I definitely have breast cancer. And Lisa says, well, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine.
And then the conversation takes a turn for something else, and the cancer is never mentioned again.
Ever. So that's that. So she also, like, feels entitled to other people's money. She wants Johnny to buy her friend a house, and gets mad when Johnny says no, because...
I wasn't sure if that was buying the friend a house, or since Johnny works at the bank, she wanted to hook up on a loan.
I could swear that she says that she asked Johnny to lend her friend the money.
But maybe lend through work, because maybe he's a loan officer.
That makes too much sense.
True.
That makes way too much sense. And then there's... Oh, what's Lisa's friend? Is it Michelle?
The one who makes out with the guy who looks like he's her student and she teaches senior year English?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that's Michelle.
So there's Michelle, who's Lisa's friend, who has a couple scenes, and her boyfriend, whose name escapes me right now. And we're introduced to these characters by a scene starts and two people are making out in Johnny's room, in Johnny's apartment.
Yeah.
And it's
two people we've never seen before are on Johnny's couch making out.
And then Lisa and her mom walk in on them, and there's an awkward scene with underwear involved, and that's that.
And it's explained away as Johnny lets his friends come over and use his apartment.
Yes.
So he's running a sex den.
Yes. And then there's their friend, it's Peter, who's the guy with the glasses.
The one, yeah.
who is some kind of therapist. We think he's just a friend that shows up in a couple scenes, and then he disappears.
Yes, one of them
shows up because a plot point in the movie is Johnny and Lisa are supposed to get married. So there's a couple scenes where the guys are getting their tuxedos and blah 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 and hanging out, getting ready for the wedding. And Peter's there, and they're just talking about women and whatever.
And then Denny shows up with his complete lack of social skills and says, "Guys, come on, let's play football." And they all go play football in tuxedos.
In their tuxedos,
but
like
playing
standing
football,
3 feet apart.
Yeah, playing football is let's stand in a vaguely rectangular shape and throw the football back and forth to each other while we're standing about 3 to 5 feet away from each other. That's playing football.
Okay. I'm starting to lose it. The slap is getting happy.
Yes.
So Peter disappeared because the climax of the movie is Johnny's birthday party, and Peter is absent, and he's replaced by some other guy who's just talking to them, like we're supposed to know who the fuck he is.
He's not even wearing glasses.
No, well, it's a completely different guy, and the reason for that is the guy playing Peter was like, fuck this, I'm done, and quit. So they just gave the rest of his lines to someone else.
Yeah, he was the smartest person involved with the film, it seems like.
So those are the characters. The movie is basically, the gist of it is, Lisa decides one day, I'm going to become the biggest bitch in the universe. Like, just randomly decides this one day.
She's super in love with Johnny, they're gonna get married, and then she decides, fuck that dude.
Yeah, fuck that, out of nowhere. Literally out of nowhere. I'm gonna start fucking Mark, his best friend.
The scene that starts that off, where she calls him and invites him over, isn't clear as to whether or not they've had discussions of their feelings for each other before. Like, Mark doesn't necessarily seem surprised that she's, like, rubbing him and, you know...
They kind of imply that they maybe fucked before, but...
Yeah. But maybe they didn't, because then Mark's also like, hey, wait a second, no, Johnny's my best friend. Why are you even doing this? I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. But he owes her one. That's Lisa's superpower.
Is people owing her thing.
Her superpower is to get people to do things for her because they owe her one. Like, every single person in the movie owes her one, according to her.
And it comes up at an opportune moment for her when she asks for something and they say no, and she says, wait, but you owe me one, and then they feel compelled to do whatever she just asked them for.
Which is, of course, why Mark decides, well, okay, let's fuck. And Mark, his character arc is, no, he's my best friend, to... I like doing this, so we're going to keep doing it, to, okay, we need to keep this a secret, to, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden back to, he's my best friend.
Yes. So, Lisa decides she's going to start fucking Mark. Johnny, kind of gets little hints here and there, but then it kind of implies that Johnny knows what's going on, but doesn't go anywhere until the very end.
And he installs a tape recorder.
Installs a tape recorder as in...
Tapes it underneath the entryway table.
Which has the answering machine on it.
Yes, but apparently it's also somehow tapped into the phone line so it can record both ends of any conversation.
Yes, even though it's just a standard tape recorder that he just tapes under a table. But he does that, and then it doesn't imply that he knows what's going on again. Where was I? Okay, then Denny has a drug problem with Chris Haar.
Uh-huh.
And then Michelle and her boyfriend get caught with underwear. And then tuxedo football. And then it's Johnny's birthday. And...
Yeah.
Okay, if Lisa had just decided, okay, I'm done with Johnny, but I don't want to break up, so I'm just going to cheat on him, whatever. What makes her the most evil bitch in the world, in the universe, is she decided to tell Johnny that she was pregnant for fun.
Yeah. Also
just
because
for shits and
she's
giggles.
been listening to her mom. She's been listening to her mom too much. Her mom keeps telling her, you need to be with Johnny because Johnny has lots of money and will be able to take care of you. You shouldn't be doing these other things. Johnny's a good man. He wants to marry you. You should be with him. And then she lies to her mother's face continuously, saying, oh, yeah, you're right. You know, I'll stop doing that. I love Johnny, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as her mom leaves, whoever's around, she starts bitching to them about, oh, my mom's trying to tell me what to do. Blah, 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 blah.
And then earlier, she just, like, decides to tell everyone that Johnny hit her for, like, no reason.
She tells everybody, and it wasn't even really... he, like, pushed her on the couch when she was being crazy.
But they were joking around. It wasn't like...
Yeah. But because she had gotten him to drink. She forced him to drink, even though he was sober, whether it was by choice or because he was alcoholic, whatever. She's like, that was another, you owe me one. That's how she got Johnny to start drinking, was, but Johnny, you owe me one. Okay, well then I'll drink this. And so she got him drunk, and they were playing around.
Yeah, they were joking around and laughing, and then the next day she starts telling everyone that he hit her.
Yeah.
And you would think that would be a plot point, like, oh, people started thinking, like, oh, maybe their relationship... No. He hit her, and then Johnny goes up to the roof and starts monologuing, I did not hit her! I did not hit her! It's bullshit! And then that's it. After that scene, no mention of that ever again.
And that was with, was that with Peter on the roof, or was that with Mark on the roof?
That was with Mark. With Mark on the roof. And then all that happens in the movie, and then at the end, it's the night of Johnny's birthday party, when Johnny finally, because I guess Mark and Lisa just decide, fuck it, we're not gonna, like, even pretend anymore.
Yeah.
And start, like, grinding in the middle of the party, and
making out in the middle of the party.
Yeah. And Johnny and Mark get in the most adorable fight ever.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Then everyone feels awkward and leaves, and Johnny goes up to the bathroom to sulk. Lisa is, like, trying to tell him he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and then he plays the tape of them saying, fuck that guy, you just come be with me, blah, blah, blah.
Right, which he got Lisa off the phone somehow.
Yes, and then Lisa leaves.
Before Lisa leaves, one of the greatest lines in the film.
Oh,
Lisa, why are you doing this to me? You're tearing me apart!
Alright, that's earlier in the movie. That's earlier,
earlier
when she's just acting... Yeah, that's earlier. She's just acting cold to him, and he's trying to get her to talk to him, tell him what's going on. There is a great line in that scene, though.
Yes.
He goes up to sulk in the bathroom. And bear in mind, Johnny is like Mr. Happy-Go-Lucky up to this point. He goes to sulk in the bathroom, and Lisa goes and knocks on the door and asks if he's coming out, and he says, "In a few minutes, bitch." And it's like blunt and wonderful.
Is your mother there? Yeah, she's a bitch too. You're like, wait, what?
Wait a minute. Okay, so Lisa, that's when Lisa goes and calls Mark, and they decide that fuck it, we're just done with Johnny. Johnny plays the tape,
right,
and Lisa leaves. Johnny has one of the greatest room-wrecking scenes ever filmed.
Oh, it's amazing. He's trashing the hotel room like it's going out of style.
It rivals the room-trashing scene in Citizen Kane. It's that good.
Yes.
And then he finds a gun that he just sort of has.
Which originally I thought was the gun that they stole from the drug dealer.
That could be. That very well could be.
But it might not be. It might be, but it might not be. It just happens to be in this box on my dresser. Oh, I'm surprised there's a gun here.
Yep, and then he shoots himself in the mouth.
And then everyone comes running upstairs. Denny and Mark and Lisa.
Yep, and Denny is creepily, like, crying over Johnny's body. And Lisa turns to Mark and says, I lost him, but I still have you, right? And then Mark is like, fuck you, I never want to see you again, you disgust me.
This is your fault, I lost my best friend, who I fought with 15 minutes ago and didn't give a shit about, but it's all your fault. I don't even like anymore.
And then Denny tells them to leave, and they, like, embrace each other. So it's like, whoa, mood swings all over the place.
Yeah, now they're a big happy family with a dead guy.
Yeah, and the movie ends with a panning shot of Johnny's bleeding body while police sirens pull up. Fade to black. Now, there isn't...
Yeah.
We can't do much with this movie besides just tell you what happens in it, because there's no point in analyzing it. It is the fever dream of a madman.
It doesn't even make... There's no congruity to it at all. It skips from one strange thing to another without any consistency among the characters, or the characters' attitudes and behaviors, any explanation behind anything, or any follow-up on anything.
The most amusing part about this movie is actually the production itself, because now the origin of this movie is Tommy Wiseau wrote it as a book, and he couldn't get it published. So he tried to write it as a play, and no one would do it. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just make it into a movie. And he had never made a movie before.
Correct.
So he went out and literally bought, quote unquote, the complete beginning director package, which included,
he went to, the making a movie store.
Yeah, and I imagine like in Looney Tunes, a box made by Acme, like
that opens up and everything.
Yeah, which included two brand new film and HD cameras. And Wiseau didn't know the difference between 35mm film and a high-definition video.
So he just taped them next to each other.
He created this rig and had both cameras next to each other and filmed the movie on film and digital at the same time because he didn't know the difference.
Yeah, why not? Of course.
It required 2 crews to operate this one camera rig. And then when he was asked about it later on, he said he just wanted to be the first director to film a movie on both formats at the same time.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Come on.
Yeah. He didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Now, that's really all there is to say about this bizarre,
Didn't he also claim that it cost a shit ton of money? Or maybe that wasn't this movie.
Oh, yes. He said... Oh, no. Things, which is still a movie we need to talk about. The guys that made Things said it cost like 100 times more than it actually cost to make.
Right. No, this one, the budget was $6 million, and in the original box office run, which...
So it did get a theatrical release.
Apparently, it premiered on June 27th, 2003 at Lamel, Fairfax, and Fallbrook Theaters in Los Angeles.
It made $1,900.
Wow. It made $1,900.
$1,900
out of $6 million budget. I love this. Let's see. Although actress Robin Paris recalled the audience laughing at the film, Variety reporter Scott Foundas, who was also in attendance, would later write that the film prompted, quote, most of its viewers to ask for their money back before even 30 minutes had passed.
And I mean, nowadays they have midnight showings of it in LA all over the place. It's kind of up there with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Comedy Central or somebody shows it on April Fool's.
Greg Sestero has since written a book detailing his experience making this movie and his friendship with Tommy Wiseau, which is actually being made into a movie itself. But I'd like to close this episode tonight with just a short passage of that book, if I may.
Yes, please.
He is discussing there's this really bizarre scene where Johnny is going to buy flowers for Lisa. And he walks into a flower shop and he Okay, well, keep it together. Okay. He walks into a flower shop and just buys a bouquet, but it's dubbed over. It's
the worst, communication. It's supposed to be a conversation, and
it's dubbed, but the dubbing isn't synced up right, so there's a question, and then there's an answer, and then there's an answer to a question that hasn't been asked yet, and then then the question gets asked. But he walks in, he's like, hi, I'd like some flowers, please. Oh, hi, I didn't see it was you. And there's a little.
Well, yeah, he takes off his sunglasses, and then all of a sudden, oh, Johnny, I didn't know it was you.
Hi, doggy, and there's a little doggy. You're my favorite customer, and then he leaves. And it's just this bizarre, what? How could you make a scene where someone buys some flowers? Weird, but he managed to do it. But there's this short from The Disaster Artist, My Life Inside the Room, by Greg Sestero, discussing this scene, and I quote. Before running the scene one final time, Tommy wanted to talk to the flower shop owner about her dog. So cute, he said as he petted the dog. Hopefully he doesn't bite me. My God. I think the owner somehow misinterpreted this as Tommy wanting the dog out of the next take. Well, she said, he's actually really old now. He just sits around. He won't bother anyone. He kind of rules over this counter. Tommy nodded, smiling, still gazing down at the motionless little dog. So it's a real thing? The flower shop owner looked at Tommy uncertainly. I'm sorry, she said after a moment. Your dog, Tommy said, unfazed. Is it a real thing? The woman kept looking at Tommy, probably trying to figure out whether this man who'd taken over her store was really asking her if her dog was real. Did Tommy think it was a robot? An android pug of some kind? Yes, the woman said finally. My dog is a real thing.
Oh my God.
On that note...
Now you understand Tommy Wiseau.
Now you have scratched the surface of the tip of the iceberg. That is Tommy Wiseau. Go and see The Room yourself, because I never want to talk about this goddamn movie again.
But don't blame us. We are not held liable for any mental instability or pain and suffering, emotional or otherwise, that it may cause.
Indeed. For the Gentleman Uncles, I have been Kyle.
And I have been Brylan.
Thank you, and use protection when watching this movie.
Shadows!